What if we were trained to create and act on our ideas? How might that inspire ourselves, our families, our schools, and our communities? Hi, I'm Allison Zamuda, and this brief slide set is to reintroduce you to the Act, Learn, Build cycle as another means of creating your own future. Reintroduce because you knew this when you first entered into this world. Naturally curious and fascinated with everything. Every moment was an experiment, and you learned through doing. So let's say you have an idea that you want to pursue. It may be based on a problem you're trying to solve, a creative spark that you want to play out, a question that you want to research. There are two ways of working, using prediction or the act, learn, build cycle. Predictive reasoning or prediction is ingrained in us starting as school children. We analyze, we evaluate, we mull over options until we finally have a plan, a vision. And then and only then are we taught to act. This approach not only dominates our education institution, but most nonprofit and for-profit businesses. The Act, Learn, Build cycle, however, is grounded in a simple premise. We learn, we achieve by doing. You can't use prediction to think your way through an impossible problem, a challenging situation, a concept for a new business, or a half-formed idea. We learn instead by taking smart steps to make sense of the unknown. The Act, Learn, Build cycle is not new. In fact, it has been used by artists, explorers, inventors, and entrepreneurs over the course of human history. Those individuals took a small step, evaluated the results, and then figured out what to do next. And they did that over and over again until they achieved something extraordinary, and sometimes not what they originally set out to do. So let's summarize. When dealing with the known, there is a right answer. The emphasis is on thinking, analyzing, and predicting. Therefore, using the prediction approach is the way to go. But when dealing with the unknown, there is no right answer. Thinking and analyzing and predicting will only get you so far. The Act, Learn, Build cycle is best. Let's go a little deeper into the Act, Learn, Build cycle before we go back to compare the two ways of working. By clicking play on the screen, you're already using the Act, Learn, Build cycle. As an educator, maybe you're intrigued by designing a customized learning experience instead of the one-size-fits-all model. As a student, maybe you're fed up with how boring school has become. As a parent, maybe you're concerned that your child's natural curiosity and creativity has been supplanted by a desire to just get school over with. Or perhaps maybe you're one of the lucky few where members of the school community are committed to unearthing students' desire to develop an idea. You are already naturally engaged in an Act, Learn, Build cycle, but maybe you want to explore the concepts at a deeper level. So whatever reason, you are personally motivated, a desire, to take a small action that was within your acceptable loss, a few minutes of your time. By listening to the ideas presented here and comparing that with your own experience, learning, you will gain insight from that comparison. Based on what you learned through that comparison, you may be more compelled to join our venture to transform education through one project, one family, or one school at a time. Or you may want to read more about Just Start by purchasing the book, or perhaps attending an online course. It starts with desire. As educators and parents, we are creating the conditions to unlock the potential of our students and children. We listen, we encourage, we suggest. But deep learning is a voluntary endeavor, and we cannot will it for our students and children. But we certainly can nurture it. How? Just start. Play around with the Act, Learn, Build cycle in your classrooms and in your homes right now. As kids, we are giving you an approach so that you can engage in meaningful learning. If you have a desire to end world hunger, start. If you have a desire to open a lawn mowing business, start. If you have a desire to design an app to track musicians coming to your town, start. Now more than ever, the world is wide open to your energy, creativity, and commitment. The desire does not have to be fully developed. In fact, you only need sufficient desire to get started. You may become more open to new ideas and directions if your desire is not so narrow. Here are two examples of desire that we will play out. The first is someone who genuinely adores animals. Perhaps she has a pet or two. Perhaps she went to a zoo and it captured her fancy. Perhaps she was moved by a parent that spoke about her job as a veterinarian. The second is someone who craves physical activity, someone who likes constant motion, but also challenge. Whether it is skateboarding or surfing or basketball, there is real motivation in putting in the time and seeing your improvement. It starts by taking a smart step in favor of your desire. Act. Something that is quick and cheap. You don't have to study for months, toil away at a business plan, or hit your parents up for a major loan. You can do it right now with your existing knowledge, contacts, and cash. If the step seems huge, break it into smaller pieces. Learn. Once you take that step, evaluate the results of the action you took. Whether you were met with enthusiasm, indifference, or agitation, that is feedback that you can grow from. Build. Build on whatever you find and identify your next step. The mantra is not, what am I going to do, as much as it is, what am I going to do next? Let's revisit the examples from the previous slide. The girl who wants to become a veterinarian. Just because she likes her animals doesn't mean that she can handle the range of people and pets that show up at the vet's doorstep. A smart action? Call veterinarians in the area and see if she can job shadow one of them for the afternoon. She may find out that she's inspired, and that triggers a series of smart action steps. Or she may find that she gets grossed out by the probes and the tests that vets have to do on a daily basis, and perhaps pivots to focus more on the animal shelter side. The second example was a boy who wanted to do something active outside of school. A smart step would be to canvas what is already out there for kids to do that is both accessible and interesting to him. If he finds a fit, hang out in that space to see if he can improve his skill and continue to network with like-minded people for future endeavors. If there is nothing that already exists, he can identify and clarify the need and then take a smart action by talking with other kids that have a similar interest. Act, learn, build. It's that simple. Let's revisit the two ways of working, prediction and the act, learn, build cycle. Once again, this is rarely an either-or proposition. In the majority of situations you face, you will want to use both ways of working together. But we are trained in school, business, and personal life to overthink. Let's see how an idea plays out using prediction and the act, learn, build cycle. With prediction, first we develop our plan before we start, and that can take weeks, months, or even years. Then we implement the plan. If it starts to go off course, we work to get back on plan. The goal is successful implementation of the plan, which may or may not line up with the reason you wanted to implement the plan in the first place. With the act, learn, build cycle, we have sufficient desire to take a smart action, see the impact, identify another smart action mindful of the results, and then repeat this cycle until you have reached the goal. The goal will likely shift as you continue to clarify your desire. Again, our premise is that we become clearer, more engaged, and more committed by doing. The flexibility of the act, learn, build cycle becomes even more powerful when we face insurmountable obstacles. In prediction, a brick wall has a predictable effect. We quit. But people using the act, learn, build cycle have a very different mindset. They embrace reality rather than fearing it or resenting it. Let's revisit the example of the girl who wants to become a veterinarian. Her brick wall? She finds out that the vet she job shadowed is interested in working with her, but the insurance provider doesn't allow people under the age of 16 to work with animals in the office. So she can either work in the reception area until her 16th birthday, or perhaps she can call another vet and describe her interest and commitment, perhaps using the original vet she job shadowed as a reference. She also can proactively ask about the insurance policy to ensure that she can do the kind of work that she wants to tap into her desire. Or perhaps she can expand her search to local zoos and animal shelters. Regardless of the smart actions that she takes, it again taps into her desire, and that will continue to fuel her action and build her network of people that are interested in supporting her endeavors. In summary, prediction is almost everyone's default position. Instead of thinking and thinking and thinking some more, ask yourself, Is there an action I can take right away that taps into my desire? For we can create our own future. Regardless of your age or experience, there are places that you can go to, actions that you can take right now to get you started on blazing your own trail using the means at hand. Interested in learning more about the Act, Learn, Build cycle? There are a couple of smart action steps that you may want to consider in furthering your own learning. First, see the tailored resources that we design for students, parents, and educators at juststartkidsinschool.com. Second, you can join our group of pioneers by signing up for our email list at juststart.com. Click on Programs and Services and scroll down to Kids in Schools. Third, you can buy the book. And fourth, you can take an online course to explore the ideas at a deeper and more personalized level. Thanks so much and happy learning.